Welcome to NCC. In this video, we're covering Module A, Troubleshooting Theory, an essential foundation for every IT professional. Now, in general, troubleshooting is the process of finding a problem's root cause as well as its solution. Now, in an IT environment, it's easy to think of troubleshooting as beginning when a problem, report, or trouble ticket comes from a user. But it's also something an IT professional can and should do proactively. For example, monitoring system functions and watching for anything that isn't working as it should or just seems unexpected. That way, it's often possible to fix problems before they impact anyone noticeably. You learn how to follow the steps in the CompTIA A+ recommended troubleshooting process and how to use a consistent process for disassembling and reassembling computers and other devices. Troubleshooting can be complex, stressful, and time-consuming, which makes it important not to use a hit-and-miss or whack-a-mole approach. This isn't to say that you can't solve many problems with a power button or by fiddling with one component after another until things work. It's just that using a methodical process will give you quicker, more consistent results. It will help you better understand the root cause, and it will teach you to better anticipate and respond to future issues. There are many different troubleshooting models, some designed for specific fields and some for the generic problem-solving process. Each has a unique focus, its own way of breaking down the necessary steps, and different suggestions for approaching a problem. Now, at their simplest though, most break down into the same three thick, broad phases. Identification means learning that there's a problem through direct observation or receiving a problem report from a user. It's easy to see this as just waiting for something to go wrong. But because some severe problems can go undetected for a long time, it's vital to view this as an ongoing process. Diagnosis involves determining the extent and the root cause of the problem. Diagnosis is often the most time-consuming step because the most common problems could have multiple possible causes. Now, especially on a well-designed fault-tolerant network, symptoms often don't show up until several problems occur at once. Now, in that case, you want to diagnose them all. Now, resolution means planning and implementing a fix for the problem. Resolution might be the easiest part, or it could be a significant project in and of itself. Now, sometimes it's necessary to make a quick fix, temporary restore network function until a more permanent solution can be devised. Now, whatever specific method you use, the important thing is that you find a complete process and stick to it, especially during the diagnosis process. Otherwise, it's just too easy to skip around from one step to another based on hunches and habits and miss the obvious. Sometimes they're a quick and easy fix, but an effective troubleshooting process will give you ample chance to consider and use them rather than merely allowing them to get in your way. Now, CompTIA has published a troubleshooting method for A+ technicians that they believe is comprehensive and effective for solving issues with computers and peripherals. There is 6 steps in this method. The 6-step CompTIA troubleshooting method includes identifying the problem, establish a theory of probable cause, test the theory, establish a plan of action, verify solution and system functionality, and lastly, the document findings. Now, step 1 is to identify the problem. Now, this involves questioning the user regarding what they were doing when the problem occurred, inquire about programs that they have open and running at the time of the problem, and ask what steps they took, if any, to fix the problem themselves. Observe the symptoms yourself if possible. Now, if there's an error message still up on the user screen, and can the user repeat the steps that caused the problem while you observe? Now find evidence of what events or errors happened within the system if possible. Now examples include error message codes, or system or application log entries. Now determine whether the problem followed something else new or unexpected, and ask the user or other personnel whether there have been recent changes in the computing infrastructure, business environment, or user procedure. Now step 2 is to establish a theory of probable cause. Now this involves using knowledge of common symptoms and various problems, conduct research based on symptoms, and good places to look for information on troubleshooting issues include manufacturer websites, technical support forums, and online technical articles and review. Now step 3 is to test your theory to determine the actual cause. Now once you confirm the cause, you can move on to determine the steps to resolve the issue. Now if your theory is not confirmed, you need to go back to the previous step and establish a new theory of probable cause and escalate to a higher level technician. Also, you may need to undo any actions you took while testing your theory. Now step 4 is to establish a plan of action to resolve the problem and then take steps to implement the solution. Now always remember to back up all data before making any changes to your computer. Now when you've completed the steps to resolve the issue, verify full functionality. The best person to verify functionality is often the user who encountered the problem. It's often said that no problem is really corrected until the user believes that it is. If possible, implement preventative measures to prevent the problem from arising in the future. And the final step is to document your findings, the actions taken, and the outcome. Be aware that many businesses have computer policies and procedures you must follow before implementing any change. For example, if you believe that an application update will fix the issue a user is experiencing, but your company requires all application updates be tested prior to rollout, you'll need to follow your internal procedures for getting the testing done prior to implementing your solution. Now, if you need to disassemble your computer, mobile device, peripheral device for troubleshooting and repair, follow these guidelines to make sure you can properly reassemble it when you're done. Document and label cable and screw locations. Sometimes a picture is worth 1,000 words. If you have a digital camera, snap picture of a cable and screw location prior to removing them. If not, take a piece of paper and a pencil and sketch out and label the locations. Organize your parts. Use small jars or containers to prevent tiny screws or other loose parts from disappearing. Secure lids on the containers so that an inadvertent sweep of the hand doesn't knock the container over, scattering its contents all over the work surface, floor, or both. Use the appropriate tools. The incorrect tool can damage a part. For example, a screwdriver that is too large can strip the head of the screw. Prying off a LGA CPU chip with a flathead screwdriver can ruin the contacts. You should consider using a manufacturer recommended process, installation, or removal tool. Refer to the manufacturer resources. Now these resources can contain exact assembly and disassembly instructions. This can save you a whole lot of time and frustration over the observation of the trial and error method. That's it for this video. See you in the next video coming up. Enjoy studying.